And a very happy Monday to you at 12:08 in the West. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios, where the weather is still beautiful and the pool is alluring. Mr. Randy Wang's at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, there has been a string of pharmacy burglaries in the San Fernando Valley. This pharmacy owner tells the news what the thieves are after.
They always look the street drugs. I call the street drugs because the drugs can make them zombie, high, Xanax.
Unfortunately for the thieves, most of these local pharmacies don't carry anything stronger than Xanax, but that's not going to stop them from loading up on the Xanny bars.
Wait, so you're trying to tell me that they're not going into these pharmacies and stealing high blood pressure medication?
They always look the street drugs. I call the street drugs because the drugs can make them zombie, high, Xanax.
I thought they were stealing bread to feed their children.
The drugs make them zombie.
Well, if the crooks become zombies, that might be a step up, because then they might be too out of it to go rob the pharmacies.
They always look the street drugs. I call the street drugs because the drugs can make them zombie, high, Xanax.
I think she would like if the cashier is dummy guy.
I think she'd get along with him.
If the cashier is dummy.
The drugs can make them zombie, high, Xanax.
The drugs can make them zombie just might become a drop.
The drugs can make them zombie.
It almost has the same cadence.
If the cashier is dummy.
The drugs can make them zombie.
Truer words have never been spoken.
The drugs can make them zombie.
800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Well, you can't talk about crime in Los Angeles without talking about our brain-dead district attorney, George Gascon.
Quite frankly.
And, Randy, recently he came out of his hole.
That's right. George Gascon announced about a week ago that he is running for re-election. He wants 4 more years to destroy Los Angeles County even more than he did in the first 4 years. There was a rally in the Highland Park area that was hosted by the SEIU for his big kickoff, and no one had any footage of it. I don't know why. Until today, when a podcast called the Vanguard News Group posted some of the speeches at George Gascon's kickoff campaign and an exclusive interview with the DA where he claims crime is down in Los Angeles.
Of course it is, because why not?
And, of course, the problem is, as this podcast person will ask, is you say crime is down, but everywhere you look, including the news, crime is up.
And you mentioned that crime is going down, but you wouldn't know it if you read the newspaper or watch the news. How do you get that across to the public?
Yeah, one of the I would say one of the biggest challenges that we have is how can we get, factual information in a way that people understand it, in a way that people see it.
We're just too dumb to not understand that crime is down, John.
That's right. And if you weren't that dumb, you would understand that he's doing a great job, and his statistics say that crime is not only going down, but it's in a nosedive.
There's so much misinformation concerning crime, and as you indicated, we're actually...
What exactly is the misinformation? Crime occurs, it gets reported. It's not like there wasn't really a smash and grab when we say there was.
No, from his point of view, the news should just stop covering crime. And if the news stopped covering crime, you wouldn't think that the people around you are violent.
There's so much misinformation concerning crime, and as you indicated, we're actually crime nationally, but certainly in LA County per capita is coming down faster than many other jurisdictions that continue to adhere to the old way of doing business.
It's the tough on crime prosecutors. Those are the counties where they're real dangerous.
By the way, news out this morning from the district attorney of Yolo County. Here is what he tweeted. His name is Jeff Riesig. New FBI data shows violent crime increased 13% in California last year, while it decreased nationwide, including a 31.5% drop in Florida. Property crime is up too. Homelessness has increased 50% in California since 2014, while it has decreased nationwide. Those are the facts, according to the FBI.
And it's not just the FBI that knows it. It's not just that prosecutor that knows it. Even Whoopi knows it.
Rising crime in California.
And if Whoopi knows it, that means anyone can know it.
So the problem for us, and I say us because I'm really part of a team, is how do we get the message out? How do we get this information out on social media?
Oh, more TikTok videos are probably coming.
Oh, yes. He needs to talk to the kids.
How do we get traditional media to more aggressively provide a balanced approach to the work? There's often...
Wait, you want to pressure local media to cover stories the way you want them covered? That's not how this works.
No. And what he's suggesting is that the news should do positive stories. You know, like how they send all those news crews out to LAX every time a plane lands safely and on time. No, we don't do that because the planes are supposed to land safely. When they crash, that's news. When they end up at the Tom Bradley terminal, that's not news. That's what's supposed to happen.
When a horrible crime occurs, that's news. When the perpetrator of that crime gets a slap on the wrist from George Gascon, that's bigger news.
That's right. He just doesn't want you to know about it.
How do we get traditional media to more aggressively provide a balanced approach to the work? There's often, especially within the Republican Party, you see people talking about crime in jurisdictions that are being run by progressive Democrats. So you saw like Governor DeSantis was here.
Who?
Did he call him DeSantos?
Governor DeSantis was...
DeSantis.
Okay.
There's like 3 ways to get that name wrong, and he found all of them.
Governor DeSantis was here about a week ago, and he was talking during a TV interview about organized retail theft in L.A. and that I was not prosecuting those cases, which is clearly a lie. But interestingly enough...
Oh, really?
No, it's not clearly a lie. It's clearly the truth.
Clearly a lie. But interestingly enough, what he did not say is that actually organized retail theft is creating havoc in Florida. So
what does that excuse the organized retail crime that's going on in the county you're the district attorney of, that you're not doing anything about, that you actually didn't even apply for a grant from the state to go after?
It's up 13% in California. It's down 31.5% in Florida. Those numbers are coming from Joe Biden.
So you see those things going on where you see, Republicans trying to put crime onto my work or reform work, and often they don't tell you the realities that actually per capita crime is much higher in those jurisdictions. We know that violence, especially gun violence, is substantially higher in the state of Florida than it is in the state of California or Texas. But yeah, if you listen to the news, you would think it would be the other way around. So educating the public.
Doing what to the public?
Educating
the public, getting this information out there is critically important, not only for the work that I'm doing, but for the work that we're trying to do across the state, across the country.
See, crime is really down. He's just having a hard time flooding the news with his propaganda.
That's right. The metro is safe to ride. Crime is actually down in California, and there's no homeless problem.
Gascon was also asked what his biggest accomplishment was in the first 4 years of George Gascon's district attorneyship in Los Angeles.
What would you cite as your biggest accomplishment of your first term so far?
Yeah, for me, I think that coming out of 2 years of this, hard lockdown, a pandemic that was unprecedented for generations, and being able to actually implement all this criminal justice reform initiatives that we did.
Oh, you mean the ones that you didn't even tell your prosecutors about that work for you because you were too chicken-ass to go tell them you don't want to go after misdemeanors?
Destroying public safety, that is his biggest accomplishment.
And then seeing crime now going down and showing that actually the policies and the work that we're doing actually is congruent. It actually helps safety. That doesn't...
Oh, his policies are actually making us safer, John.
Oh, yes.
Create more insecurity. For me, that I think has been the largest accomplishment. And it's not...
Record-breaking year for car thefts. It's never been safer in Los Angeles.
No, but if you live in an Orwellian world, then you can just go ahead and publicly make these claims and assume that if your microphone is loud enough, people will believe you.
And it's not my accomplishment, it's our accomplishment, because it takes a lot of people to be here. It took a lot of people to put me in office. It takes a lot of people for me to do the work every day. And I think that this is a wonderful testament to the fact that reform actually can work and it's actually good for our community.
I will agree with Gascon on one thing there. He said it's absolutely true. It took a lot of people to get him into office. We got no one to blame for ourselves for this one.
That's right. The voters were dummy for electing him. The electeds were dummy for endorsing him. And George Soros is dummy for financing him. And I think it's turning us all into zombie.
Is it? Let's check.
The drugs can make them zombie.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and coming up later on, we're going to have the sound for you of a speech that was given at Gascon's announcement. The speech was given by a member of the Los Angeles City Council, Eunisses Hernandez. And Randy, if I describe it as a humdinger, I don't think I'm doing it justice.
Because we are the defund the police people, right?
She is all in and ready to, quote, throw down to get Gascon reelected. And we're going to have all that sound for you today.
It is an absolute gem, so make sure you stick around. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
We got one here from Chuck, who writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And the subject line is zombie. John beat me to it, but that woman definitely has to be the wife of the cashier is dummy guy. Let's do a comparison.
If the cashier is dummy,
The drugs can make them zombie.
They might be a couple.
If
And
the
what a
cashier
couple
is
they would
dummy.
be.
The drugs can make them zombie.
I heard that this morning, and I just knew.
Imagine having the two of them over for dinner. If you missed last week's episodes, let's say you're on a business trip, on vacation, whatever the case may be, Randy, you can go back and download the podcasts and listen to them.
That's right. Just go to KABC.com, click on podcasts, or go to the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, or even easier than that, search for the KABC app in the Apple App Store or the Android Store. Easiest, most clutter-free way to listen live to this radio station whenever you're outside of the AM radio signal. And you can listen to the podcast, whether it's on your phone or CarPlay, it's all there. And you know what? I understand for some people, technology can be very scary. And Sheng Tao understands.
You may be frightened, and I know how you feel.
She is another gift that keeps on giving all year long.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Mariah Carey. Merry Christmas, one and all, at the Hollywood Bowl on November 19th. Tickets are on sale Friday at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, call in number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
All right. Christmas not only comes at the Mariah Carey concert, it's coming early for all of you because we have some amazing sound of L.A. Councilwoman Eunisses Hernandez. She's the Abolish the Police woman.
Yes!
That she gave at George Gascon's campaign kickoff event.
Are we going to get it?
You're not going to hear it anywhere else, but we have it. So don't you go anywhere. We played the sound for you of current Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon telling you that crime is actually going way down in Los Angeles County.
Quite frankly,
at his campaign kickoff, he was joined on stage over at the SCIU by the Abolish the Police Councilwoman Eunisses Hernandez.
The one who went on the record and said,
because we are the defund the police people, right?
Which is an odd booking if you're running for district attorney to have the woman that wants to abolish public safety.
Well,
Unless,
go for it.
Unless you're George Gascon, and that's the goal. Well, not only was she just standing behind him, she wasn't there for window dressing. Oh, no. No, she's the intellectual heft for this campaign.
Here is Eunisses Hernandez at the kickoff for Gascon's re-election campaign, speaking to a crowd of enthusiastic SEIU supporters.
Hi, everybody. How you doing today? Great. No. We're about to re-elect DA Gascon.
Yikes.
Can you imagine if that actually happens?
You know what? It scares the crap out of me.
You may be frightened, and I know how you feel.
We won't have a Rite Aid in the entire county.
I'd love to see it. Good morning, everyone. I'm Eunisses Hernandez. I'm the council member that represents the 1st District. I was born and raised in LA in Highland Park. I've lived here my entire life. I have dedicated a decade of my life to working on criminal justice reform issues, abolitionist issues.
Abolitionist issues, which means no criminal justice.
That's right. That means no cops. That means no courts. That means no jails.
And trying to repeal laws that have disappeared our people, that have criminalized our people.
Disappeared our people?
That means you murder someone, you go to prison for a long time.
That have disappeared our people, that have criminalized our people.
That is her favorite word. Well, we've only gotten to know Eunisses Hernandez for the better part of a year. She loves to say people get criminalized. It's not that they commit crimes. It's not that they break the law. It's not that they victimize someone. They're the victims because they were criminalized.
That's right. When they kill someone, or when they attempt to kill someone, or when they rob someone, by putting them in prison, you are victimizing them. They're acting out because they have grown up in poverty, because the system is rigged against them, and because of that, you can't blame them for their behavior. By doing so, you are criminalizing them.
That have disappeared our people, that have criminalized our people.
You remember early this year when LA City Councilman John Lee wanted to impose stricter fines for catalytic converter thefts. It was Eunisses who famously said, "I can't support this because I don't want to criminalize my community."
That's right.
That have disenfranchised our people. I luckily have had the privilege to work alongside Susan Burden, Assemblymember Tina McKinnon. I even with Congressman Tony Cardenas on drug policy many years ago when I was at Drug Policy Alliance.
Tony Cardenas, what the hell are you doing there?
He's got a lot of problems.
And I dedicated myself to doing that work because my loved ones have been impacted. Instead of getting support and care for being impacted by the foster care system, problematic substance use, they ended up in jail or criminalized.
That's what this is about.
Okay, why were they put in jail? What laws did they break?
She doesn't want to get into that. They were just criminalized. No fault of their own.
They were walking to church, and suddenly they ended up in prison.
I am a survivor of sexual assault, and the system didn't keep me safe. It didn't keep my loved ones safe. Instead, it created collateral consequences.
That's a strange argument.
Yeah.
So the way that we prevent something as tragic as sexual assault is to keep people that commit sexual assault out of prison?
Well, if you follow her logic, yes.
Literally disappeared our people. And so that's why I've dedicated myself to trying to repeal these laws, to make this system one that will keep us safe and remove the power from the system that doesn't keep us safe. And I think, we can all remember those times when, we had DA Lacey, right before you came into office, one of my loved ones...
Did someone just boo Jackie Lacey?
Oh, that crowd hates her because she wanted criminals to go to prison.
What a crazy concept.
Right before you came into office, one of my loved ones was impacted by, it was a ridiculous case of vandalism. And they were trying to throw 2 to 5 years of gang enhancements on him.
Oh, great. So Eunisses Hernandez family members are gang members.
Is she denying that he was in the gang, or just thought that it was ridiculous that there are criminal consequences for being a member of a gang and breaking the law?
It was a ridiculous case of vandalism, and they were trying to throw 2 to 5 years of gang enhancements on him. And luckily, we were able to get him probation, and he had no criminal history. But the DA at the time was willing to throw the whole book at him and throw him away.
I want to know what this brother of hers did.
Yeah, I want to know what kind of vandalism we're talking about, and I want to know if he was, in fact, a member of a gang. My guess is the vandalism is not something minor and that he was a member of a gang.
You know, it's just a strange thing to think about, but let's say allegedly she's family members with gang members. Wouldn't it be the greatest thing ever for criminal gangs to have somebody who could destroy the system from within and let all the gang members out of prison?
Well, that's why Gascon is key, because Gascon is effectively doing that.
I organized expungement clinics with many of you in this room. There would be people that would come in with 11, 15, 31 convictions on their records. That means they were arrested, went through the court, were convicted that many times, and for what? It didn't work.
It sounds like for a lot.
Yeah, for turning this town into a toilet. That's why.
It didn't work except create collateral consequences. I think many of us...
So what exactly is the goal here when somebody commits that level of crimes? Just say, don't do that again.
Okay, think about this for a second. She's saying people are convicted, 11, 12, 13 times?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to go through the system where you break the law, you are arrested, the case is given to the DA charges you with the crime, either you plead guilty or you go in front of a judge and a jury and you're convicted, and you go through that process 13 times. And from her point of view, the problem is not your behavior, the problem is the system. Because why go through all that paperwork?
I think many of us know that there are over 4,800 collateral consequences on the laws and policy books that keep our people from re-enfranchising, from living in certain places, from getting certain licenses.
You mean like keeping sex offenders away from neighborhoods with small children?
Yes. What she is describing is if you're convicted of a crime, let's say you've been convicted of a sex crime and you want to go work at an elementary school. They won't let you work in an elementary school if you've been convicted of a sex crime because they don't want child molesters around children. If you've stolen money and you want to apply for a job to be a bank teller, the banks don't want you there if you have a history of stealing money, because why would any bank want a thief to work for them where they have access to more money to steal? My guess is if you apply for certain kinds of jobs and your crime doesn't have any relation to that job, particularly in a market where unemployment is very low, there are a lot of employers who are willing to overlook that. Let's say you got a DUI conviction and you're applying to be an attorney at some law firm. I don't think that would prevent you from getting the job. But if you've stolen money, no bank is going to hire you. If you've molested children, no school is going to hire you, and they'd be crazy if they did.
You know, if she's so interested in getting rid of all criminal consequences, here's one, Eunisses. How do you feel about banning people who are convicted of domestic violence from getting a gun?
Yeah, answer that question.
That's what we're trying to repeal. That's what we're trying to remove. And we're trying to walk into a place where we are safe, where we invest in the social safety nets that prevent the criminalization of our people.
Again, the problem is not them breaking the law. The problem is you convicting them for breaking the law.
If we only had more after-school programs, people wouldn't be criminalized. We know how that works in Oakland.
Oh, my God, they melted the basketball court.
It's just Lord of the Flies.
That make sure that you feel safe walking down to school or home or to work. Because right now, we have not given law enforcement more money in any other moment in history than we do right now. And people still don't feel safe. And
so what is the logic there? Oh, don't fund law enforcement at all and we'll be safer?
Yes, that's what she's saying. If you don't fund law enforcement, then her criminal relatives won't get arrested for breaking the law.
It must really irritate the crap out of her that because of defund the police policies that she championed, crime went up in the last few years. And now to answer to that and to deal with officers who have lost so much morale that they're leaving the job entirely or going to safer districts, we have to give the police a raise and all these bonuses and incentives. Yes, the police budget is higher than ever because of defund the police nut jobs like Eunisses Hernandez.
There is not enough money in the bank for you to give me to agree to be a police officer. Could you imagine having that job where you work for people like her who fundamentally don't want you to do the job that you were hired to do, and the minute you do something they don't like, they're going to try to put you in prison?
Is a future where people get second chances, where they don't throw the book at them.
How about the third chance?
How about the 13th chance?
Where they don't throw the book at them, where you come back for the people who have been intentionally criminalized and disappeared.
What is this disappeared?
It means go to prison.
But that's what you say when, someone gets mafia'd.
They've been disappeared.
Where you come back for the people who have been intentionally criminalized and disappeared and brought them back from unjust convictions that the DA's office has put on them. You have created and implemented policies that prevent our people from getting sucked up in there without any thought.
I didn't realize how many people just accidentally got criminalized.
Unjust convictions in her mind, I bet you if you pressed her on it, would be things like gang enhancements, gun enhancements, parole violations, those sorts of things. She either thinks they shouldn't be illegal or they're minor administrative issues. When you're on parole, you're supposed to mind your P's and Q's. You're not supposed to be a member of an organized crime ring, whether it's the mafia, a gang, whatever the case may be. And if you are, that is illegal. You can't do that, especially if you're out breaking other laws. Committing an act of violence, breaking the law with a gun, yeah, there should be gun enhancements on that because the level of risk is different when you break the law with a gun. But if all of that results in people that I guess are related to her or people that she supports, if they end up going to prison, then, well, the wrong people are going to prison. So you can't have those laws.
The previous DAs have had no humanity or love for our communities.
And by our community, she means criminals.
That's how it's supposed to work, because the DA is supposed to represent the people and the victims of these crimes.
You notice she's not saying that these people did not commit the acts. She's just objecting to the fact that they went to jail for it.
But you deal with all of the failures of our society. Assemblymember Tina McKinnon talked about the lack of employment, the cost of housing, the cost of food and gas. Has your checks increased at that rate?
That's right. It's the cost of gas that causes people to murder other people.
And unemployment is literally at record lows. Every shop you go to has a help wanted sign in the window. It's not as if there are no jobs. It's that they choose to break the law because they can make more money stealing.
Has your checks increased at that rate? No. Now think about the people who have thousands of collateral consequences on them because they've been intentionally criminalized. This system is racist. We know that.
Oh, God.
There we go. And by the system is racist, she means the black chick that was the DA before Gascon.
Yes, the black female district attorney just had it out for black people to put black people behind bars.
That's right, because she wants them disappeared.
Because they've been intentionally criminalized. This system is racist. We know that. You can look at the jail population where our black community members are only 9% of our general population here in our communities. Over 30% of the people sucked up into the jail system. And then everybody else...
What does that exactly prove?
It's hard to follow her logic.
And then everybody else gets sucked up too. Black trans women during COVID-19, before that, were the least released and the least to receive services. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even going to touch that one.
Good idea.
And at least now we have someone who's at the door of that system, who's making sure that people's humanity is looked at, that they're not just getting sucked up indiscriminately. And so I thank you for that. You represent a future that's better. You represent a future that prevents this disappearance of our people at a grand scale.
The disappearance of our people on a grand scale.
And I just appreciate you for the work you've done to help also people that have been unjustly criminalized. But that's why I'm here to support you.
Unjustly criminalized.
Okay. The LA Times endorsed this woman. The LA Times endorsed George Gascon. All of the insanity that you're hearing coming out of her mouth is something the LA Times believes in too. That's the scary part. You can have one lunatic local elected or two lunatic local electeds, but this is what the powerful believe in Los Angeles, too. And by the powerful, I mean the newspaper of record in the city, the Los Angeles Times. This is what they think. This is who they empowered.
But that's why I'm here to support you, because I think a lot of y'all know where I stand on these issues. You know, I don't normally endorse prosecutors or sheriffs.
That is way too loud of laughter for that joke.
Well, they know why.
I don't do that because, again, I'm trying to take power from that system because I've seen the impact of that system on my loved ones. But I believe in you.
All right, so how many of her family members are in prison for doing horrific crimes?
It sounds like a bunch of them.
But I believe in you. So far, you've kept up your word and the policies that you said you're going to do. And just a side note for that, the policies that you're implementing, you didn't even do them on your own. There are people who are sitting in the audience that were part of the working groups that put together those policies. So even the policies came from community, from directly impacted people. That never happened before.
So we're letting the family members of prisoners write the policies for how we should treat people who commit crimes?
Isn't there another member of the LA City Council who has a brother in prison currently for some heinous act?
That's Imelda Padilla. She's brand new. And yes, her brother was unfairly criminalized because there weren't enough after-school programs in Van Nuys.
And then he just disappeared.
And so I just have a lot of hope for you.
All right.
And I look forward to the future with you. We got your back, I got your back, and I'm willing to throw down to make sure that we can continue on this better path.
What the hell does that mean?
Throw down?
She is willing to throw down to make sure George Gascon gets reelected.
Okay. Could you plug that into Google?
Throw down?
Throw down.
All right, I'm just going to put in throw down.
I don't know if Merriam-Webster is going to have the definition that we're looking for.
Well, they don't, but Urban Dictionary does. A fight or a brawl, a challenge or incitement to fight.
That's pretty much what I thought it meant.
Throw down for Gascon.
Because if you're running for district attorney, fistfights in the street from elected officials, that's the way to handle it.
That was Eunisses Hernandez giving her proud endorsement of 4 more years of George Gascon.
This is what they think, kids. But if you listen to them, what they're doing is working and crime is down.
Yes!
Let's go to Seth in Long Beach. Seth, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hey, John. Something serious happened last night that I want to talk about.
Okay.
My 10-year-old son disappeared all the ice cream, okay? I don't know what happened to it. This isn't funny, you guys, all right? He wants to apply for a job at Baskin-Robbins. Like, I don't know what to do here, okay? And if you remember, I called you like a month and a half ago. I'm a comedian. Sometimes I'm kind of funny. My catalytic converter was disappeared, and last year, our Christmas lights were disappeared. I swear that's true, and it's ironic because I'm Jewish, so that is sort of funny.
They stole your Christmas lights. What's the value of that? Like $17?
Okay, they stole, you know that green and red thing that people put out front, and it like flips the color and it has all these cool patterns. And like, look, I don't do weed anymore, but it may have me relapse. Like I could fall off of the, I'm like one puff away here. And anyway, they came and they stole that, and like it was a very bah humbug moment. So. Very frustrating. Anyway, that's probably all I have. Otherwise, I just thought that was kind of funny. I appreciate you guys calling out this woman for her utter nonsense. Oh, and if I could add something.
No.
I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm so sorry. Did I get cut?
You're still here. You can apologize.
So I forgot. My bad. I'll put it in the swear jar. I have I'm just going to say this. I have like a close, let's call it a family friend, and he's in jail for his first thing. And we're really glad he's there because it's a bad person. Like there is no 31st strike and you're maybe sort of kind of on double secret probation. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the call, sir. And I'm sorry to hear about your catalytic converter and Christmas decorations, but jingle all the way.
First dump of the week on a Monday.
We've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California Hour is next. Don't you go anywhere. This is Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Are we going to get it?
Gonna get it.